Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And yes, it is the three amigos. How you guys doing? How you doing, Dion?
Howdy, doing great. Ready for round two.
You have the best view. You want to give us a quick sneak peek of what you're looking at there? You're looking at some water.
Yeah, in the last video, the sun came out because it's like 90 degrees here in Florida, and then the sun came out. It was 90 while it was cloudy. I couldn't see that whole video.
There you go. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad you're still with us when you're on vacation. Thank you. And Matt, how are you?
You want to ask who's doing better at this? Dion with his 16 units in front of water.
Yeah, Dion wins.
Yeah, I'll show you the 200-year-old pine tree that's outside my window.
There you go. There you go. Well, hey guys, I've been wondering how I was going to do this, and the three amigos just makes perfect sense. As you both know, I was collecting feedback about what I call supply destruction. I now have, I think it's 9 experts. I have built the average of all 9 experts. I'm comparing the experts to my predictions, and I'm going to pull that up right now. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. So here we go. So to remind people what we're talking about, in case you haven't seen these videos, let me just collapse this, the picture of all of us. How do I do that? There we go. Okay. So what we are looking at here is basically 8 variables across supply destruction. My opinion is with rates going up, we are actually not going to only have demand destruction, we were going to have supply destruction. And I believe there were 8 variables that could have supply destruction or even supply growth. So I asked all my experts, Anna, Matt the Mortgage Guy, Millennial Mike, Jonathan, Dion, Lumberjack, Greg, Dickerson, Adrian, and Omar, across all those variables. I've now collected the average. I did do a video on my whiteboard series with my numbers. Of course, I am in purple. And now I talk about the variables. But yeah, I guess, Matt, since I got you on my screen, when you look at this, anything jump out at you?
That Omar's really positive.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of growth. And you know what, who was really kind of neutral was Jonathan. Lots of zeros.
Well, yeah. So he was really, for me, my bias is towards the mortgage guy, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the one, right? You're the one, Matt. You're the one.
Yeah.
And so I look at his numbers, and my numbers are kind of close to a lot of his numbers. So that makes me feel a little bit warm and tingly on the inside. So I think what's really crazy is, and what we've seen with this market is that something weird is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's going to make all of these numbers not make a difference because something weird is going to happen, right? Like something like a mass 40-year mortgage first-time home buyer program.
Yeah. With a $15,000 down payment given away. Right.
But then still but still FHA rules apply. So what does a flipper do? He goes, yeah, I'll buy anything right now. Mm-hmm. I'll pay retail right now, redo it, and I'll still be able to sell it to them for way more in 90 days. Yeah. So I think there's something I think like that will happen, get a little bit nutty in our market. And I think that then it's going to shift a bunch of this stuff. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see. And I think the other thing that I always love about spreadsheets like this is that it's perspective where you are, sure. Right? Where you are, what your book is, because what your book is what you know the best and the most.
Yeah, that was right? Definitely, that was my big takeaway, right?
Yeah.
Just so if people don't know who these are, right? Anna, I would call her a one rental at a time starter, but now doing bigger deals. Matt, the Mortgage Guy, very much residential. Millennial Mike, out of state residential. Jonathan hasn't looked at a residential in 10 years. Dion and Matt, obviously the three amigos. Greg really is a builder. Adrian's an agent and broker. Omar is a broker and agent, kind of the same, but they wear their hats differently. So it was pretty interesting. Dion, what do you think?
Well, I would like to see a column with what you think.
Yeah, right here, purple.
Okay, good. That was what I was looking for. And one of the things I do with the truck driving school that I work at is we teach resume theory at different unemployment offices. Mm-hmm. And we always say, if there were 5 experts here on resumes, that's 34 opinions on what a resume should look like. Yeah. So with these 10 people, don't do this. Yeah. But if you asked again in a week, without letting us have that chart in front of us, the odds that we even came close to guessing the same thing last time, because a lot of these are categories that I've never thought of or invested in. And some of these, like Jonathan Twombly, he's in bigger deals, he hasn't thought of residential. And if On is moving to bigger deals, there's just aspects like flippers and builders that we haven't thought of. So I like that you take a bunch of experts with all their opinions and then come down to what is the average.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So what I was trying to do here, again, one of the things I'm always concerned about is I sometimes get anchored on my opinions. So what did I do? I first created a video with my opinions. What people don't realize is my whiteboard ideas, or the purple column here, came out long before I asked anybody else, because I wasn't going to let anybody else influence my opinions. Then I knew I already spoke with 8 millionaires, which is awesome on this channel. I was going to ask all of them, which we did. And then I was going to get the average. So what I take from this is I'm just going to go bottoms up. I think everybody agrees move up buyers are not going to move. Right? That, if you guys don't realize, of all my 8 buckets, that is the biggest driver of supply, because that's 2 purchases.
2 deals. Yeah.
I sell one, I buy one. If that first move doesn't happen, transactions are going to crater. I was conservative at 40% decline. The average is 51. And that does not include my 40. It's just everybody else's. Yeah, transactions are going to fall. It's pretty crazy. Investors, same deal. I was conservative. A lot of folks, again, peeling apart their opinions. They're like, if you were going to sell, you sold last year because you got maximum price. People are overpaying. Now that rates are up, nothing to 1031 into. You don't want the new debt. A lot of people are like, nope, you're just going to stay put. This one was interesting. And this was really from, I think, Matt, the mortgage guy. Who are the biggest numbers here? Yeah, Matt, the mortgage guy, really gave me the insight to this one here. Must sell. He's like, again, he looks at a lot of files, right? So go ahead.
He's brilliant.
Oh, he's very good.
Yeah.
So I didn't think this would move, because I was like, you know what? Death, divorce happens all the same. Matt's like, Michael, a lot of people have been waiting to get divorced and waiting for this and waiting for that. There's going to be a lot more people. And I'm like, I'm wrong. So this one could go up. There could actually be more people that must sell this year. Next, foreclosures. Maybe and again, this is a timing thing. This is the beauty of doing this. I think everybody I spoke with thinks foreclosures are going to go up, but all of you are right. There is a timing component of this, and maybe I'm early, right? Because again, right, foreclosures take 9 months, and if you start now, maybe you don't finish this year. So I thought that was interesting. I guess the last one we'll jump to is downsizing, because again, a lot of the feedback was, again, this is the people's opinions and where they come from. Matt, you talked about this, right? If you think your mom and dad own their house free and clear, you downsize and don't care. My parents happen to keep using their home as an ATM. So yes, they had a bunch of equity, but they also had debt go up every 5 years or whatever. So they couldn't downsize because it would be truly more expensive for a smaller home. So it's just an interesting example, but at the end of the day, people are not ready for supply to go down, and you can't have a transaction without supply, right?
Not as far as I know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It does push up the price of whatever's being sold because there's more demand than there is supply.
Exactly. Think about this. Last year, folks, 1,000 listings, 5,000 demand. Prices go up.
Right.
This year, 500 listings, 1,000 demand. Right. That's why I'm telling you prices aren't going to go down. There may be some cities and areas that are unique, but no national decline. Dion, what do you think?
I agree. I think they're both scaling down at almost, not quite the same, but we're going to see a lot less transactions. So I go right back to agents and brokers should develop a side hustle.
Yes.
At least for the next year. But watch the properties that sit. This is going to be our opportunity to see the motivated seller after a week or two, where we just didn't have that option 6 months ago.
Yeah, I would tell real estate agents, you are actually if you've been a real estate agent that's been thinking about buying a rental, this is going to be the time, because you're going to have inside information. You just are. You're going to know, you're going to find the sub 2 or the seller financing or the whatever thing. Because here's another deal. Yeah, a 30-year investor loan might be 7% soon. I've done seller financing deals at 2%, right? Sometimes I give them their price if they give me my rate. And again, if you're in the business and having these conversations and focused, like you say, Dion, on the properties that are aging out, just go ask the question. You just never know. Right? Matt, what do you think?
I agree. I think probably the biggest boom for real estate agents in the next year is going to be a side hustle as a bartender.
Ah!
Because people love talking about real estate at the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obnoxious at this point. Every single person at the bar is talking about real estate, number one. And number two is have some drinks after work, because it's going to be a lot. I mean, it's going to be a lot to take, Mike. We've talked about this for a long time. If you've been a broker for, let's call it 3 years, your world is going to get rocked. Yeah. If it's been 6 to 10 years, your world's still getting rocked quite a bit, but it's not going to be as bad, because you'll be able to harken back to 10 years ago when it was like, I mean, I kind of smelled it a little bit. Right. If you're a 20-year agent, you've probably been pretty smart, and you've probably been like, I don't know when it's going to end. We're going to keep on printing money. We're going to keep on going. And then we're going to start literally dropping headcount off teams. Yeah. And that's what I keep on telling people. They're like, well, it's too hard to build a team. It doesn't matter. If there's 9 transactions and you have 20 mouths to feed, they're going to have to find something else to do, or it becomes Lord of the Flies.
Exactly. I failed to do this in episode 1. I don't want to forget again. Matt, how can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and on Instagram at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We have our live stream every Sunday after the daily financial news with Mike Zuber on One Rental at a Time.
Thank you, buddy. And Dion, how can they find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, where you can find videos like the one that came out today, where I had a guest named Bryce who shared an actual interesting way of finding more deals, which I think is going to be more and more important for the next few months.
Finding more deals. One more time. What's the YouTube channel?
Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Thanks, guys. Sorry I failed to do that in episode 1. My bad.